Everyone talks about getting more clients, but what if you could get clients who don't leave and pay you over and over again? In this video, I'm going to show you how I get clients to sign again and again and again, make 3 to 4 times more per client, increase lifetime value, and reduce client acquisition cost so I make more money for less work, and how you can install this right into your business. So if your clients work with you and then leave, this will get them to stay and fix that. And I'm also going to share with you my retention roadmap that I use to get 90% more cash per client. And by the end of the video, you'll have a retention process that you can install into your business to get clients who pay more and stay longer. I was recently reviewing my Q1 client data, and I noticed that out of the last 10 clients who ended with us, 6 of them renewed once, and 3 of them had renewed a total of 3 to 5 times. And so my average LTV, lifetime value, is 1.9x on that front end offer, not even including any cross-sells or upsells. And I didn't always have this process. So that's one of the reasons that I decided to make this video. And another reason was a client that I thought back to. So I worked with a client a while ago. We helped him go from around $3,000 a month to about $40,000 a month. He was buzzing from the result he got. I was buzzing because we helped him get the result. And I thought, great, we got an amazing case study, an amazing testimonial. Off you go. I didn't have a process for him to continue. It was more like optional, but there wasn't a real process. So he left and he did it on his own for a while. He did well. And then he hired a new coach. And, he worked with that coach. And a few weeks into the trajectory with that coach, he'd messaged me a few questions. And I'm more than happy to help past clients. But I thought it was a little strange. He's working with the other coach now. And then maybe 3 or 4 weeks after that, he told me that business had actually tanked quite a bit. It'd come down from 40K a month to way under 20K a month. Things were going sideways. And so when he ended working with that coach, things were not in a good place. We started working together again, and we had to spend time just getting him back to that baseline before we could even move further on. And he told me, oh, I wish I would have just stayed with you. And I was thinking, yeah, you probably should have. But I realized it was my fault. I didn't have a process in place. It was just, hey, if you want to continue, you can. If not, off you go. But just because he had got to 40K a month doesn't mean he had really internalized everything and instilled those behaviors to memory. And so every problem that you solve naturally leads to a new problem. That's something I learned. So if you help people get leads, the next thing is you might have to help them turn those leads into clients. If you help people get sales and clients, well, then you might have to help them deliver for those clients. If you help them deliver for the clients, well, now all of a sudden they might have a bottleneck in delivery, and you might have to help them hire a team or train people and get themselves out of that. And then there's also the point of accountability, which is what we see a lot in weight loss and fitness coaching. Somebody will come in, they'll lose the weight, and then they'll leave and they'll put it all back on. It's because they haven't really committed those behaviors. They haven't internalized them yet. So they still need that accountability. And something interesting came to light from this. It was people want to work with somebody, but they also need to work with somebody ongoing to reinforce those behaviors. A couple of months isn't enough to reinforce them. So like I said, this client came back, and from that day forward, I created this process. And I realized when I create this process, a client re-signs, I get more money. I'm happy making more money, but that client also gets a better result, and it reduces risk for them. Because anytime you change from something, whether it's changing barbers, you might get a dodgy haircut. You change from iPhone to Android, things might go wrong with your phone. There's always inherent risk of that. And they would rather work with you if you got them a result. They'd rather work with you again. That confidence is there. There's less risk. And they're easier to work with because you know how each other work and you vibe well. So the mental reframe, before I get onto the whole process, the mental reframe I want you to have is, instead of hacks to get clients to stay, how do you make your offer and delivery so good that clients don't want to leave? Because this also matters to the health of your business. Successful businesses, they maximize each customer. It's not just about the money on the front end. And especially in coaching, with what we do, it's mostly a high price, low volume game. If you get a client a week at 10K, $500,000 a year, but what if you just got one client a month to renew? Forget the money for a minute, like the total amount. That's 3 extra months of cash. And I say cash because it's mostly all profit there. And so that's huge. I don't know many jobs that will just give you 3 months bonus like that. And before I reveal the process, this isn't MRR, okay? This is not monthly recurring revenue. Do not be naive enough to think that it's monthly recurring revenue. You're not Netflix or a phone company. The likelihood of people staying with you year after year after year, it can happen, but it's not the norm, okay? We're talking here about an increase in lifetime value, simple as that. So we're not going to talk about ascensions or upsells in this video, just simply renewals. And then the final thing before I get into it so you can follow along, if you want the exact step-by-step retention roadmap that I use with every single client once they join us, find me on Instagram at @ksomji, message me, DM me the word retention, and I'll send it over. So the first step is you want to sell the journey, not the transaction. Most people come in for a quick fix. They want to make 10K a month. They want to lose 10 pounds. They want to get their first date. They want to speak on stage for the first time, whatever your program helps people do. But just because they get that first result, it's not done. It's not the end. You either might need to reinforce those behaviors, like I said, and make them even better at that. So if it's something like making money, you could stabilize it. If it's something like speaking, you could help them speak even better. Or you could help them get the next outcome. Instead of 10K, get them to 30K, 50K. Instead of speaking in front of a small group, speak on a large stage. You get the point. And so you want to lead with the first result, yes, because that's why people come in. Another weird analogy I'll give you, but a waiter doesn't sell you dessert right away. They lead with the first thing, the appetizers, then the main meal. Then they might say, oh, I hope you left room for dessert. You see, they'll introduce it at the right time. So you sell them on solving problem one, and then you show the other things. In my business, where we help coaches and consultants get more clients and more revenue, that could be, okay, now they've done that. Can we help them scale? Can we help them install new systems? Can we help them leverage even more? Can we help them with hiring key team members or installing AI systems, launching a low ticket offer? Because they can't do all of that in just one trajectory. Okay, you help them get to that first result. And when they renew, there's more chance of long-term success, because if they've got a result with you once, that's when they'll stay. They probably won't stay if they didn't get some level of result. You know how each other works. You've built the relationship. And retention should start at the beginning. You want to seed it early and often. Most clients, or most people, including myself, right, we wait until the end, right? Right at the end, then we say, maybe book a momentum call, a catch-up call, recap, and then spring an offer on them, and they're not expecting it. And so, again, it's just like you're making that high-ticket sale all over again. So now what I do is I let them know it's a natural next step. They're not forced, but I reveal my intentions up front. I let them know, hey, you're currently here. We'll help you get here. Should you like to get here after that, and if it makes sense, we would love to continue working with you to help you get there. But they might just leave there. That's completely fine, okay? So this starts with the onboarding, because people know within the first few days of working with you, I've read a statistic like 7 days, I think it's even sooner. They know within the first few days if they want to continue working with you. It's the experience. So the activation, that's where it starts. Once they pay, what happens? How professional does it look? What do they get? Then the onboarding. Setting expectations is very clear. So I let people know in my program the expectation of when they can expect to do certain things, hit certain milestones, and continue to work with us after that, should they want to. Even you showing up every day, just by you being there, they can see how attentive you are, how much you care about their success. Making the right promises and keeping the promises. Over-delivering, that's another key one. I give my clients some unadvertised bonuses, and then the relationship with you as well. So that's the first point. The second point is the client experience. Kind of started with some of that there, but clients re-sign when they feel momentum and enjoy the process. Yes, the results are key, but it's not just about that. It's not just, oh, if they got this result, they will renew. People will renew when they feel like they've made tangible progress and feel like a new version of themselves. So if you create a positive feedback loop, somebody works with you, they do what you say, they get a result, they feel like a new version of themselves, they do what you say, they get a result. You're creating that positive feedback loop. And you can do this by celebrating small wins, showing progress visibly, and reminding clients how far they've come. We sometimes miss this, right? Especially things that you do when you get a result, they become normalized. I wish they didn't. But now, making like 50, 100K a month, it becomes normalized. But the first time that happened, it's like I'm refreshing the phone screen. I couldn't believe it. I'm logging in and just seeing, how long until this glitch goes away. It just didn't seem real. So if you've got clients who have lost some weight, they might not even remember it a little bit on. You want to show them how far they came. Or for some people, the scale might not move. Can you take a measurement? Or in terms of revenue, if I help a client get from 10K a month to 30K a month, it might sound big to you depending on where you are, but it might sound small. But that's an extra $250,000 a year. Bloody massive, right? That's huge. That is 3 times what they were making before. So you want to remind them of these things as well, because we tend to forget these, and then give your clients recognition as well. Remember, people are not buying coaching for information anymore, like AI has ruined all that. They want actual, tangible progress, the results in the area they come from, but also personal growth. So they buy the feeling of working with you, not just the result. Results key, yes, but the feeling. Again, if you go back to your favorite restaurant, you know probably what you're going to order. You know what it tastes like. You know the service. You know everything. But you go back. You want that familiar feeling because you've enjoyed it before. And when you do that, literally, I get DMs from clients saying, hey, we're coming to the end. I saw about working again. How do we do that? Or what are the options? It's beautiful. It's not, why would I? It's like, how can I do this? And they're doing this preemptively, sometimes more than a month before the end of the trajectory. And then the third thing is the identity. So when you do this well, working with you becomes part of their identity. It just becomes who they are. So think about your dentist. When was the last time you changed dentist? When was the last time you changed barber, right? And you may not have the best barber. Like most people stay with their barber or hairdresser. You probably don't have the best one in the world, but it's familiar. That's your guy or that's your girl. And so if you look at even athletes, they usually stay with the same coaches. Or CEOs, I see them year after year in the same mastermind. High performers, they stay in environments that elevate them. And so it should go without saying, obviously, you actually need to help them get the result. That's the first thing, right? If you don't, it's kind of hard to say, well, you didn't get the result, sign up with me again. But that's why it's important to set the right expectations. And you'll find that the longer they stay, the longer they stay. It's weird. I've found that once somebody re-signs once, it's dramatically easier to get them to re-sign a third or fourth time. It's literally they go from 1 to 3 or 4 instead of dropping at the second. So I always think, and you can think this as well, how do I get them to renew the first time? Because if you do such a good job on the front end and they renew the first time, the likelihood that they'll renew again is much higher. And you can find this out. Literally poll your clients. Ask them what made them sign up. Or for people who did renew, what made them renew and what didn't, if they didn't renew or if they didn't sign up. Ask these things. The best data you can get is from your clients. And a bonus one for you as well is incentivizing. You see, renewals increase lifetime value and they lower client acquisition cost. You don't need to go and run more ads to get a new client. You don't have to take more calls or more DMs. It's a client who's already given you money. The sales process is easier and it's mostly 100% profit. So you don't have to, but you can incentivize with some kind of a discount or just giving some kind of bonus thing. Everyone loves a deal. And I'm going to give you a little sneak peek into another video I might do. When you give an upsell, let's say your first offer's 5K, your upsell's 25, you could give the 5K off. Everyone loves a deal and it's more worth it for you. It makes it easier for them to say yes. So let's recap what we just went through here. The first one is to fix the offer framing. So framing it as a journey, not a transaction. The second one is fixing and optimizing the client experience. So each step, each micro win, let them know how far they've come. Make sure they enjoy the journey. And if you have a community, plug them in and fix the client identity. That's number 3. Keep them growing with you on the journey. Show them the next phase of growth, the next phase of growth they're going to enter. So now I've shown you why it's important to sign clients again and again and how. If you don't do this, you're leaving money on the table and you're getting your clients worse results and they're taking on more risk. Because if even 10% renewed, what would that be worth to you? So you can take what I've shared here and run with it. You've got that checklist. But if you want to make it 10 times easier and work with me and my team to install our exact system to help you sign 5 to 20 new high-ticket clients per month who keep paying you month after month, the link's in the description. And now that you know how to get clients to stay with you, how about actually getting more in and actually making it their idea, getting them pre-sold so you don't have to faff about with hard selling, battling, non-stop objections on calls. We'll watch this video next where I break it all down for you. I'll see you there.